As we transition to the new normal, we have left others behind. We need to reimagine and redesign our educational system. With the collective effort of schools, sponsors, and TagPro's learning management system, and core of passionate teachers, we can deliver free education and champion the cause of our students. Together, we would be able to teach, inspire, and serve, because TagPros believes that education is a right all children deserve.
TagPro's Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the TagPro's education marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
How you can apply to the TagPro's Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our Wondering how you can apply to the TagPro's Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the TagPro's online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the TagPro's marketplace. Sign up now at the TagPro's website. We'll be glad to have you on board.
As we transition to the new normal, we have left others behind. We need to reimagine and redesign our educational system. With the collective effort of schools, sponsors, and TagPro's learning management system, and core of passionate teachers, we can deliver free education and champion the cause of our students. Together, we would be able to teach, inspire, and serve, because TagPros believes that education is a right all children deserve.
Part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the Tag Pros Education Marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
Wondering how you can apply to the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the Tag Pros online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the Tag Pros Marketplace. Sign up now at the Tag Pros website. We'll be glad to have you on board.
Part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the Tag Pros Education Marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
Wondering how you can apply to the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the Tag Pros online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the Tag Pros Marketplace. Sign up now at the Tag Pros website. We'll be glad to have you on board.
Part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the Tag Pros Education Marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
Wondering how you can apply to the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the Tag Pros online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the Tag Pros Marketplace. Sign up now at the Tag Pros website. We'll be glad to have you on board.
Part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the Tag Pros Education Marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
Wondering how you can apply to the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program? It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as Teacher Partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the Tag Pros online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the Tag Pros Marketplace. Sign up now at the Tag Pros website. We'll be glad to have you on board. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Tag Pros. I am Celine, as usual, a grade school teacher and edtech coach from Xavier School, and I am back once more as your host for today. Welcome back to our Tag Pros Children Live webinar workshops. This webinar workshop series is brought to you by Tag Pros Children in partnership with Tag Pros Education, an up-and-coming online K-12 education marketplace where passion takes the lead in learning. This event is also made possible by the Department of Education International Cooperation Office, Teacher Education Network, and Next Series. First, of course, we want to share the good news that we are ready to launch the Tag Pros Education K-12 Marketplace before the month ends. So if you were able to watch the video a while ago, those are the steps on how you can be part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We have also started to welcome our first cohort of teachers to the platform and met them for an online basic orientation to become our first Tag Pros teacher partners. For those who are interested, of course, our Tag Pros teacher partners can look forward to the following benefits. They can earn while teaching their expertise at their own pace, place, and time. So very flexible. Access to teachers' CPD accredited training and professional development, opportunity to participate in international professional learning opportunities in the United States with our official education partners, your official certified Tag Pros teacher partner badge, and many more other perks as you create and conduct your online classes. Now, this is actually very interesting for a lot of teachers because, as we know, as teachers, we're not just teachers. We also have our own hobbies, our own interests and passions, and this is such a great opportunity for us to be able to showcase that, or for you to show your passions and teach it to students, and all while earning at your own time, place, and pace as well. So it's a really great opportunity, and I really encourage everybody to check this out. To know more about the program, please spend some time and check our education marketplace platform at tagpros.us. If you're interested in joining, please do let us know. Okay, and now before we proceed to our webinar for today, let's have a quick attendance check. Let's see where our live viewers are coming from today. So let's just check our comments. Please feel free to shout out where you're coming from. So we have from Valenzuela City. All right, welcome to our webinar for today. Where else? Where is everybody coming from today? I see somebody from Isabela. That's so great. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Gonzaga. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome so much. Welcome to our webinar this wonderful Saturday. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, for taking time off your weekend to be here with us. And yes, it definitely is a great topic that we have in line for today, and we're so excited to share it with you. All right, we have somebody from Basilan, Isabela City, Basilan. We have people from Laguna, okay, from Manila, and even from Ifugao. All right, it's so great to see that we have people coming from all over the Philippines. We have people tuned in from all over the country. We have somebody from Kidapawan City, welcome. From Benguet, San Pablo City. All right, we're so glad to have you here today. And of course, let's not forget as well our team replay viewers who are not able to watch us here live today, but of course are tuning in as well from all over the Philippines. And I think some of them are also coming from other countries as well. So we do have an international audience also. All right, so from Rizal, Bacolod City, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us here today. Now, as always, just a quick reminder, please practice responsible digital citizenship and refrain from sharing any personal information in the comment section. That would include your email or your contact number. Let's also remember to be civil to one another in the comment section. All right, and a gentle reminder to everybody, registering for our webinar workshop or just watching the webinar workshop does not make you eligible for a digital certificate. So even if you watch the whole video, that does not automatically entitle you to a certificate. Now, if you do want to receive the digital certificate for our webinar workshops, you have to answer the evaluation form that we release after every session. So later on after our session, we'll be sending you the link and posting it on the screen of where you can answer the evaluation form so that you can receive your certificate. After we open the form, you only have a week to answer it before we close it on Friday at exactly 11:59 p.m. Now, if you miss that deadline, unfortunately, you will no longer be able to access the evaluation form or answer it. And that would mean that you won't be able to receive your digital certificate. So please make sure that you answer it as soon as you can. You have a week to do so, and we do hope that you're able to accomplish it on time. So again, even if you registered or attended our webinar workshop today, you will not get a digital certificate unless you have answered the evaluation form. We hope that you understand and remember this. Thank you so much. All right, so now I know a lot of you are excited for our topic today. It's a very interesting one. And without keeping you waiting, let's now meet our guest resource speaker for today. So he is currently a guidance counselor in Xavier School, Philippines. He has been in the counseling profession for 21 years. He is also a certified life coach. He conducts seminars and workshops for students and teachers in his home country as well as abroad. He was also a past president of his faculty association and does voluntary work to assist the personnel of the school, like the security guards and our school helpers. Aside from counseling, he also spends his free time hiking in the outdoors, joining Spartan races, and collecting Starbucks stuff. So we got to know a little bit more about our speaker today. So let's welcome now to our virtual stage Mr. Dan Abrogina as he shares with us tips and ways on how we can encourage our youth to show more compassion and practice empathy during these troubled times. So let's all welcome Mr. Dan Abrogina.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming to today's session. Before anything else, I would like to thank Mr. Jim Toscano and Tag Pros for organizing this talk. Today, we're going to discuss a very timely and special topic, and that is how to be compassionate during the pandemic. I know that all of us have experienced difficulties during the pandemic, and it's easy to be compassionate when everything is comfortable, but when you yourself is having the difficulty, that is the challenge. Hopefully, as we go along this session, we'll be able to learn more about it and grow together as well. Your inputs will be highly valuable as well for not only for me but also for the other participants. Let me reintroduce myself. I am Mr. Dan Abrogina, a guidance counselor here in Xavier for 21 years. I've been a counselor for grade school for 11 years, while 10 years in high school. Aside from that, I was also blessed to be elected as an officer both in grade school and in high school. I'm also exposed to a lot of outside work and outreach as I was part of the Singles for Christ and other institutions outside Xavier. So I do not claim to be an expert for today's session, but the ones that I will be discussing will be based on my experience and my learnings. So hopefully I'll be able to impart some good knowledge about our topic, which is compassion. I would like to share a part of myself so that you'll have a better understanding on how I got involved with volunteerism. I was born and raised in Lipa City, Batangas, the youngest of four. My dad is an OFW worker while my mom is a full-time housewife. During my early years, I considered my life comfortable and I have been exposed on how to be compassionate with others through my mom. My mom would always lend money to our relatives who might need money and extend help to our driver and house help whenever they needed one. My mom would also tell us share our old toys or old clothes because they needed more. So my mom was my role model of how to be generous and compassionate. And during that time, we really don't mind because we have extras, and things that we don't need are the things that we usually share with others. But on the latter years, we've experienced a 180-degree turn of our lifestyle. My mom and dad separated ways and we had to fend ourselves. I was studying in UST in my first year back then, and I've experienced how difficult it is to live in a place where a lot of affluent people and me having financial concerns. I had to stop for a year because we really couldn't catch up. I had to work in McDonald's to save for my next schooling. And from there, I've been exposed to a different set of type of people. The workforce, those who also have financial concerns, financial difficulties, those who divide their times from studying and working. So I got a better understanding of the other type of people during that time. And knowing them makes me understand myself more also, the difficulties I'm having during that time. Stopping for 1 year, I went back to UST, this time as a working student. I valued every penny that I have, and I was able to relate to other working students as well. If before my definition of compassion is having pity, this time compassion is more of understanding that no, not people are not just poor because they're lazy or they're not smart. Sometimes situation really put them in that particular way of thinking. So I work hard as a student and able to finish, and luckily got accepted in Xavier on the on. While I was working in Xavier, I had a lot of insecurities. I had this lens that I've been working with rich and me being poor. So it's rich versus poor. But at the same time, earning my own money is an opportunity to give back to my parents. And seeing that I'm being able to help my family is a good opportunity. But while I go through my Savior work, I've been exposed to a lot of outreach activities. In Savior, every grade level has a focused outreach community. Like one would focus with the AITA community, the others are the personally disabled, others would be those who are in jail. So the exposure helped me understand that even me as a person who doesn't have much can make a difference, because compassion is not always financial help. I've appreciate talking to those people in jail because they did not have visitors in the last 3 years, or talking with people with cerebral palsy. Even if they kept on repeating what they said, they're happy in expressing. So exposure really helps on how to be of help to others. And then I was elected as an officer of the school. So the more I work closely with teachers on a personal level, and I've seen the difficulties and plight of other teachers, may it be financially, emotionally, psychologically. So I do colleague counseling, and from there, I was able to assist and maybe lessen their concerns. And I've seen also that we have teachers who are victims of calamities, Typhoon Ondoy, fire, and deaths of family members, and we were able to help. I think understanding what they're going through builds the compassion in oneself. It was my last term as an officer in high school when pandemic happened. So I think no one was prepared for it. We were just brushing it off as something similar to SARS. I remember worrying about my canceled flights and what's gonna happen with my summer, as shallow as that, because of the threat of the lockdown. And the effects of pandemic could be felt all around the country. I myself have worries that I would lose my tenure because pandemic is something serious. Schools might not open because of the lockdown, and the school might remove people. We've seen businesses closing down and people losing jobs. So aside from my worries, I think the worries of also the other teachers are our partners in school. So guards and janitors, if they don't have work, then they don't have pay. So we would like to extend help to them during that time, even if we ourselves are having difficulty. We pulled amount of money as part of our salary to give assistance to them. But as the pandemic moves on, we all know that we also have our personal concerns. And usually, if you have given already, it's hard to give again for other people. And we can't blame them because looking at the bigger picture, they also have their personal concerns. And also during this time, there was this advertisement in news of Patricia Non doing the community pantry. And I thought that if one could not give financial help, why not do something similar with Patricia's advocacy? And that started the Xavier Community Pantry. First, it was just with our janitors and guards, and then we've extended help to our neighbor school, which is Immaculate Conception Academy. It started with teachers sharing what they can, vegetables, canned goods, noodles, and this really helped our janitors and guards because they do not need to spend for that particular day their merienda, their lunch, because they could get something from the pantry. And lucky enough, this endeavor was picked up by parents and students. So we were able to get help from them. And up to this day, the Xavier Community Pantry is still alive and kicking. Exposure, awareness, and understanding are the key things to teach values. It's not something that you could just direct to them like academic content. You can't just say, be kind, be good, help others. Values is not easily taught, but it's caught. So, the people that have been my model of my values, my parents, the people I've worked with in Savior, the people I've worked with in my volunteer work, are the things that made the person that I am now. So, the best way to teach your values is to model it out. And hopefully, we are able to teach our students to be compassionate by being the learning tool and being an example to them. The key to being compassionate is to empathize. So, what is empathy? Webster's dictionary defines empathy as the ability to perceive and share in another's emotion and lived experience. It is the ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. You might heard people saying it's like just placing yourself in somebody else's shoes, but for me, it's more like seeing and feeling through their eyes. Did you know that 98% of people have the ability to empathize with others? The few exceptions are psychopaths, narcissists, and sociopaths, which are people who are unable to understand or relate to others' people's feelings and emotion. Those also who have learning difficulties may not be able to empathize like those who have autism, but they express it in other ways. So, can empathy be developed or are we born with a certain amount of it? Are some people just naturally better at empathizing? Is it really important, as some people say it, to practice empathy? For me, I think empathy is within us. So we have seen people who are people and families who are really generous, but it's something that could be developed or destroyed as well. So empathy is a very important skill in order to understand not only others but ourselves in the process as well. Empathy and sympathy are often confused with one another. Both empathy and sympathy are feelings concerning other people, but sympathy is literally feeling with or compassion with another person. Empathy, by contrast, is feeling into, the ability to project one's personality into another person and more fully understand that person. Empathy is based on compassion, while sympathy is based on analysis. For example, a person would see a victim of typhoon. So if it's just sympathy, the automatic response is that, oh, nakakaawa naman yung victim, I would give donation. But when it comes to empathy, you try to understand how it's like to be a victim of typhoon and what are the things going through your mind. Do you just need um, help based on monetary, or you need other help like emotional help? In the other end of the spectrum, there's apathy and judgment. Apathy, or the absence of emotion, is a feeling of generalized indifference and ineffectiveness. For example, during the current scenario, those people who doesn't want to vote because they feel that anyone whom they will vote for is someone who is corrupt. So you don't want to participate, you don't want to engage. While judgment, on the other hand, is making assumptions without thorough understanding of the other person. So, as my example, when during my younger years, I would see a janitor as someone who is not smart and lazy. That's why he ended up as a janitor. Or when we see a woman together with a foreigner, sometimes we would assume that woman is a gold digger. There are three types of empathy: cognitive, affective, and compassionate. Cognitive is the kind of empathy which is all about how others feel and think. It is also known as perspective thinking. So, how would your teacher react, or how would your student react, is a sample of cognitive empathy. You place yourself on their shoes and thinking how it's like to be a student, how it's like to be a teacher. The other one is emotional or affective empathy. So, what happens is that you internally identify a moment in which you were similarly feeling that same feeling. It's the ability to successfully understand what the person went through and put yourself in a corresponding emotional space. Have you seen yourself cringe when another person hit their elbow or stubbed their toe on something? Have you cried while watching a movie because that the main character is crying as well? So that's an emotional empathy. And the third one is compassionate empathy. When our empathy goes beyond simply understanding and sharing others' feelings, we feel the need that we need to take action. So, compassionate empathy is what ties cognitive and affective empathy together. It's the spark that spontaneously moves us to help others when needed. There are four parts of empathy: perspective taking, putting aside judgment, trying to understand, and communicate that you understand. First is perspective taking. As a counselor, I practice this generally, thinking how a student might think on certain situations. Because as a teacher, things might be easy for me when it comes to studying, but for students, they might have a difficult time. So we place ourselves in the shoes of our client. Second is putting aside judgment. Some people might have preconceived judgment. Like for me, whenever students talk about dads, I had difficulty having a positive image of dads because I myself has a difficult image of my father. But I have to put that aside. Okay, and think in a general perspective how one should feel with his father. Third is trying to understand. We have to level our understanding based on the person we are trying to understand. And fourth, tell the person how you understood it based on the things he or she shared. So when we try to communicate that we understand, we are able to make that connection to that particular person. So why is teaching empathy important? Empathy is important in almost every aspect of daily life. Even though we live in the world of selfies and concentrate in ourselves, we still have to be connected with one another. Empathy allows us to have compassion to others, relate to friends, loved ones, co-workers, relatives, and strangers. And empathy has a large impact to the world. So having empathy will is a requirement so that we'll be able to nurture healthy relationships with one another so that we could care and understand. A friendship or romantic relationship that lacks empathy will suffer in the end. When people only think of their own interests, other people around you will have difficulty. At the workplace, empathy is also very important. Even if whatever type of personality you have, like you're an introvert or an extrovert, you still need to be able to empathize. For example, working in teams, if you don't understand your coworkers, then teamwork would be difficult. Similar to a boss-employee relationship, if you don't understand your employees, you might be overworking them, and then in turn they will not be productive. To the world, empathy from a global perspective is infinitely important, especially when it leads to compassion. This type of empathy pushes people to dive in and help when there are major disasters, as what we've seen in Ondoy and Yolanda, and people are willing to help out others that they have never met. So what we do have an impact even to the people we do not know. Without compassion, empathy, the world would be much darker and less functional place to live in. Again, we are all connected with one another. And to fully understand our connectedness, I want you to watch this short video.
It's so easy to place people in boxes, drawing lines, creating sides. There's us, and there's them. Those we feel comfortable around, and those we don't. There are those of us with many chapters, and those just starting their own stories. There's the well-to-do, and those doing what they can. There are those we share something with, and those we don't seem to share anything with.
Welcome, and thank you for coming today, guys. Today I'm going to be conducting an experiment where I'll ask you a series of questions. Now, these questions will be very personal questions, and for us to get a true result, I need you to be completely honest with how you respond. The first question I have is, who in here was the class clown? Who is never on time?
And then there's us. We who have tattoos. We who feel lonely. We who have been bullied. We who have bullied others. We who are madly in love. We who have overcome great adversity. And there's the lucky ones, whose team won the championship this year. We who beat cancer. And then there's all of us who are created in the image of God. And as one body, we stand together, united as one under His grace.
Though values are caught more than thought, I'm still giving you tips on how to instill empathy and compassion. As early as a young age, compassion should be instilled to our children so that they'll be able to understand others. A good way of teaching this is when we see their behavior, like they're teasing or hurting another student, we could ask them, how would they have felt if someone would tease or hurt them? So the same thing if something positive happens, like sharing with things, how would you feel if someone gives you something or share of something? So this line of thought would help them as early to understand how it's like to be in the place of another person. My first tip would be empathy should start with you. As mentioned, people observe you and that they get their values based on their observation. So if you practice empathy, then you will be a good role model for other people as well. Me, as a counselor, I practice empathy with my students by trying to think of how they think and understand how they understand. Because only by then I would be able to relate and connect with them. You know, students, they don't have markers on their foreheads and say that these are the things that they've been going through. So the best way to know them is to try to understand them. The second most important skill is awareness. You could only empathize if you're aware of what's going around you. Especially now that pandemic made us just stay in our home. So empathizing is being aware of the people, the situations that happens around you. You should practice the art of noticing uh, details about another person, and be curious also of knowing the other person. Sometimes when we listen, we have the tendency to respond and not understand. We just want to reply. Like when a student would give me a complaint, I'm thinking of a way on how to answer or address his concern without understanding what he's really going through. The third one is guided interpersonal communication. I think teachers are doing this by giving students situation on placing themselves in certain characters of a story and how would they react if they were that kind of person. The same thing uh, when there are current events and we see how these people interact on different circumstances. Example of this is how would you address the concern of the Philippines if you were the president at this time? Or how would you react if you witnessed a bullying incident? So these situations makes them think of what they would do when they're faced with these circumstances. The fourth one is experiential learning techniques. So this is giving students situation to interact with the people that they need to know more. In Xavier, we have outreach activities that make students interact with persons who have physical disabilities, part of the indigent community, or those who are in the workforce like community helpers and the like. So by working closely with them, they would understand their plight, and if they have questions or clarifications, they could easily ask these people firsthand. Learning them from news or books is a different experience, but learning them firsthand is more of a quality interaction. So aside from awareness and exposure, I think one of the key in empathizing with others is the ability to reflect. So reflecting on one's experiences or the experiences of their peers would help. Teachers could facilitate this by giving reflection questions that would be valuable in their experience. And lastly would be positive reinforcement. It's catching them doing the good, recognizing the effort that they are doing. That's one. In grade school, we have this happygram that whenever we see a student doing a good deed, we give the certificate of positive reinforcement. In the workforce, even teachers who does community work is an added point in the evaluation of their performance. For me, compassion and kindness should be a way of life. If we practice compassion and empathy, we'll have a better understanding of the people around us, and the world would be a better place. Having the community pantry from April up to the present makes me wonder that how this endeavor still lasts up to this point. It's only because there are a lot of people who are compassionate and empathetic at times. So I hope you learned a thing or two from my talk, and if you have questions, feel free to ask me anything for today. So have a good day and a pleasant afternoon to everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Dan, for sharing your expertise with us. That was such a great talk. It was very inspiring. It was so nice to hear all of those tips and techniques on how we can be more empathetic to others. So let's all give Sir Dan a big round of applause, virtual applause. Okay, now before we move on to our open forum, Sir Dan, I believe, has a few things to add, a few things to say. So before we go to your questions, let's hear out Sir Dan again.
Thank
Sir
you,
Dan,
Sis.
go ahead.
Okay, I missed out that in contrast to those who teach academic subjects where you get immediate results when you teach content, teaching values is quite different. So it's not easily observable, and sometimes you don't see it immediately as well. We have students who may not display compassion on the onset, but when they become adults, that's the time that they become more exposed and they put these learnings into practice. And there are also students who just sees it on a superficial level. And though it's sad, we're still hopeful that in the future they'll be able to realize that values are important as well, similar to skills.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Dan. Okay, so let's move on, I think, to our open forum now. So we might have a couple of questions in our chat box. I do see a few reflections, some insight from our viewers. So let us go over some of the questions. Sir Dan, of course, will be answering these questions. And if you have any further insights or you want to ask something to Sir Dan, feel free to just continue sending them in through the chat box and we'll go over them. All right, so we do have a couple of insights first. I think let's go over some of them. There was someone, a viewer earlier, who said that it's nice to um, hear hear these things from a different perspective. Okay, so they said, talking about the same struggle we had for years, easing the burden, most especially if we make it by helping others and doing good despite our own struggles. So I think what they're trying to say is that even having gone through your own personal struggles, and you've overcome those struggles, I think it inspires us also to help others in overcoming their own struggles as well, because we know that we made it through. Maybe we can assist others and help them figure out how they can make it through as well. So like I heard earlier, Sir Dan, you went through your own struggles as well when you were younger. How have those struggles maybe inspired you as well to reach out to other people in your life or in your communities?
I think when you've experienced difficulties firsthand, it
Mhm.
becomes more relatable and close to your heart. So good and bad experiences are really part of one's life, and we should not take negative experiences in a negative light, but instead reframe our thoughts that these negative experiences have positive impact.
All right, thank you, Sir Dan. I agree. That I think having it's easier to empathize with people really when you know firsthand what they've been through, when you've been through the same struggle, so it's easier to know where they're coming from, to know what they're going through. And I think it also allows us to help each other out better, because we're in the same boat, as they say. We're experiencing the same thing, so I agree with that thought. You mentioned also earlier that there are some students, so going to the education side of this, you mentioned that there may be some students who find that teaching values to them is superficial. Are there any ways that maybe we can get through to them, or maybe we can help them see better that it's not just all talk, and it's actually worth something to know about these values?
Maybe first is that when you teach values, what they look first is your authenticity.
Mm.
So if you're real on your experiences, sharing your good and bad points, then they'll understand more and relate more to it. And teaching values is not just talk.
Mhm.
Uh, it's good for them as one of my tips to let them experience things. And letting them experience also requires that we try to let them understand what's in the situation and not
Mhm.
just on a skin level, no. So kailangan din natin paunawa din sa mga students that these things are part of a bigger picture.
Mhm.
So they have to reflect on these things. And minsan kasi some students, especially halimbawa sa Xavier, I've experienced most of our students are taken care of, sheltered, ano. So when they see difficulties, ang automatic reflection nila is that we're blessed, we're not like them. So we have to go beyond that. So what do you do when you feel that you're not like them? What can we do more? So yung mga processing ng experiences, very essential siya. So
Mhm.
that's what we have to do.
I think that's great, exposing our students as well to those different situations. I think is really helpful. I remember when I was in college, we had this professor in theology, and he wanted us to empathize more with people experiencing poverty. So what he had us do is he wanted us to sit down with somebody, like just somebody we meet on the street, somebody who we can clearly see is experiencing poverty, and have a chat with them. So that was very changing, life changing for me personally, and for a lot of my classmates during that time as well, because it helped us see what those people were going through. And like you said earlier in your talk, it's easy for us to judge and to have judgment for others, especially when they're living a different life from us. Uh, and so I think those experiences and that exposure to those different kinds of experiences and perspectives really helps in helping students really understand what it's like to be empathetic towards others. So thank you, Sir Dan. All right, we have a couple of insights from our viewers in the chat and comment box. So we have here from Lizelle B. Thanks so much for your topic, sir, is very timely. And we can be able to, or we can apply those points in our daily tasks as educators. So that's true. I think this is very helpful for us as educators, because usually these types of things, they're kind of guidance counselor type work, right? We
Yep.
usually think of it as something that guidance counselors do. But as educators, we also have to have that empathy, because we're the ones who are interacting directly with the students almost on a day to day basis. And it's a very important thing to practice for us. Okay, from Elenita Cabildo, he said, very inspiring talk. Truly, our experiences and even others' experiences are our best teachers. I admire your positivity in life. So definitely, I also admire your positivity in life, Sir Dan. Very positive, and with all the things you do, it's amazing how you find time to also help others. Aside from doing your own passions and taking care of yourself, you also do what you can to help others, and that's truly inspiring. So I agree with Miss Cabildo. From Jos Gan, we have talking about the same struggles. All right, so this is the one I mentioned earlier. We had for 2 years, ease the burden, most especially if we still make it by helping others, doing good despite our own struggles. So I think we have a couple of people in our comment sections, in our chat, who know what it's like to be in similar positions, to be in a position of struggle, or to have those obstacles in life and having to overcome them. From Jenalyn Go, thank you, Sir Dan. This is reawakening, especially to educators, to be compassionate to students, especially this pandemic. Very good point. Because a lot of our students are really struggling during this pandemic, especially those who are struggling with having to be online for their classes, because not everybody, of course, has the same access to the internet and the devices that we have, the technology. So it is a struggle for a lot of them. So I think this is a good reminder for us to be compassionate. Yes, Sir Dan, go ahead.
I just like to add also, sometimes we confuse that being compassionate is just giving material things. There are
Mm,
other things that we could do being compassionate, sharing our time, effort, and talent that also do wonders. Listening, even if we don't solve the problem of the other person, as long as the person felt he is understood, he's heard, that already puts a good feeling to other people. Me not being really well off, okay, but I think I had the power of influence with other people. So when I ask for help, okay, so sometimes people just don't know how to help. So use that
mm,
talent also to influence others to do good. That's another take on compassion.
mhm. Yes, so I think that's a good acknowledgement that people have different ways of helping. It might not always be, like you said, in physical form, through objects, through those kinds of things, but listening, lending a helping hand, offering to be there for that person. I think those are big ways of helping as well. Even though we're not really giving them anything physically, I think we're helping them, deal with those things emotionally and yeah, showing empathy towards them. All right, we have more insights here from Mark Anthony Oliva. Your session has helped us realize that we learn from our experiences, particularly dealing with our students. This is really important since they are from diverse origins or they come from different backgrounds. So I agree with that. I think it really helps us to put things into perspective and learn and see and remember that we need to be more compassionate to our students. Like I said, during this pandemic, a lot of them are struggling. A lot of them are coming from different backgrounds. We don't know if some of our students are, dealing with sickness also in their family or whatever else that they may be going through. That while they're having to have their education, while they're having to learn, they're dealing with these things at home as well. Now, speaking of that type of situation, Sir Dan, because for us in Xavier, right, we have mentoring. We have our mentoring program wherein, just to give a little bit of context to our viewers, we partner some teachers with a small group of students so that that teacher can be their mentor. They can be the one to get to know those students. Now, how about for schools or maybe teachers who have different setups? What do you think could be ways that they could get to know their students better and maybe get to know if there anything they're struggling with or need help with?
Okay. As a counselor, I also have a wide number of students. I handle around 300 students.
Mm,
It's not easy to know the students, especially in an online setup. Back in physical school, it's easy to know the kind ones and the bad ones, as we say. But the ones in the middle usually fade in the background. So what we have to do is to a lot time to know our students. So we do routine interview for students to check on how they are, and usually they open up. They have concerns or not. They just don't have the opportunity. So it's good to give them an opportunity to talk. Another thing is that we have a guidance tambayan. It's like a lunch break where the guidance counselor opens his Zoom link, and then
mm,
students will just drop by and share stories, play games, or talk with other students. I think we have to create the opportunity. And second is that we need to want that to have the desire to know our students by maybe allotting a time to talk to students after class or a few kamustahan on how they are before beginning a class. That will be a good start. Another thing is you may ask them to answer a personal survey
mm.
and look for red flags, okay, on the answers, and then talk to those particular students. And another note, okay, I just remembered a counseling session of students and parents fighting, and usually I would tell the parents that your son is undergoing something. It's pandemic. But the same thing when I talk to my students, your parents are also in the time of pandemic. They're also not prepared and adjusting. So as kids of your parents, you should also try to understand your
Mm.
parents. You're not the only ones who need to be understood. And it works. Okay. Na, oo nga, no? May problema din yung parents ko na we have to work both ways so that we're able to go to a compromise.
All right, thank you, Sir Dan. I think those are great tips that are easy enough for our teachers to pick up if they're interested also, of course, in getting to know their students better. Like you said, creating the opportunities, right? There may be some of our students who feel like they don't have that opportunity. They don't know that they can talk to somebody. So I think being open enough and letting them know that we're there for them if they need someone to talk to. And even the interviews are a great way to get to know them personally, one by one as well. Even the surveys, for those of us who maybe don't have that much time to conduct one-on-one interviews, we can do the surveys, which is also a great idea because it's something simple enough that they can do maybe in their own time, and it will help us also get a better perspective on what they're going through. Okay, thank you, Sir Dan. We have more insights. We have a lot of insights today. So a lot of people are feeling inspired by your talk, Sir Dan. Okay, so we have here from Shauna Nipa. They said topic reminded us again to put our feet in the shoes of others, which sometimes we forget. A reason why we don't understand the situation of others, especially our students. So we forget to sometimes understand where they're coming from or put ourselves in their perspectives. And I think this has been a great reminder for all of us to learn to be more empathetic, and not just during this pandemic, of course, but throughout our work as teachers. It's something that we really need to be reminded of and remember. From Rachel Grace Makatisbes, she also said the topic reminded me what educators really mean, the value of educators. Our students need us to be more compassionate. So she said, thank you for this session. All right. And from Mer Rosas, they said, as a teacher, we need to help and to be concerned with our students. So that's true. We shouldn't just be teachers who are teaching things to our students, but we should definitely, teachers are considered as the second parents. And I think as second parents, we definitely have to embody that as well and be as loving and caring as their actual parents. Yeah.
Cliche as it may sound, but we may not remember what our teachers taught us, but we always remember how they made us feel.
That's so true. That's so true. Actually, even my grade school teachers, I still remember them because of the nice ones. I really remember them because they were the ones who helped me with, not just learning stuff, but actually learning how to be more kind to others and things like that. And of course, I remember also my teachers who were masungit because, the way teachers portray themselves are the ways that we remember them by usually. That's so true, Sir Dan. All right. So thank you so much. We've had so many insights here. We have one last question, I think. How can teachers say no to too many work, since this is also a struggle for teachers? So I think um maybe we can tie it into empathy and like taking care of ourselves as well. Like, yes, we need to be empathic towards others and help others, but how do we help ourselves? How can teachers say no to too many work, especially if they're struggling with that kind of thing?
First thing is that you don't immediately say no. You communicate with your supervisor when task becomes overwhelming. Sometimes your supervisor is not aware of the things that you're going through and giving you a lot of tasks. It can be practical as well because you cannot accomplish it at a particular given time. So communicate and find a middle ground where both you and your supervisor could agree on the task that you have to do. It's true that there's a lot of things to do at the moment, and it affects not only our physical health but our mental health. So it's good also to say no at things, especially when things naman are not too immediate or urgent or not too important. So let's try to communicate. Communication is key. Or else, if you just say no, you could be misunderstood. It's a sign of stubbornness. So don't just say no, okay? And if work is too much and you cannot avoid the workload, always ask for help. So I think your supervisor and your other colleagues are more than willing to assist you. Sometimes when we ask help, it's a validation from our colleagues that we recognize their talents and efforts. So that it's also good to ask help once in a while. So that when they need help, they would reach out to you also as well.
Thank you so much for that advice, Sir Dan. I think that's great advice because I actually also was wondering the same thing. How do you say no without coming off as too blunt or too stubborn, seeming like you don't want to do the job even though you're just overwhelmed? So I think that's a great key to it is communication, really. Communication helps so much with a lot of these kinds of problems that we might encounter. And tying that to empathy, I think communication plays such a big role in us understanding each other better, whether that's us helping or maybe trying to let others understand how we feel or us trying to understand how others feel. It's such a great two-way street of getting to know each other better and understanding what the other person is going through. So thank you so much, Sir Dan. Everybody in the chat box is giving thumbs up and clapping emojis. I think everybody's super impressed. Everybody loved your session today. Right, so I'm not seeing any more questions. I think we can more or less finish our open forum there. But definitely, if you have other questions, if you think of other questions that you may not have thought of right now, you can send them to us in the chat box still or in the comment section. And we'll try our best to reach out to Sir Dan to have him answer those questions that you may have. This goes especially also for our team replay viewers who are not here and not able to watch us live, but are watching us at their own time. So we will try our best to get the answers that you seek from our guest speaker. So once again, let us of course thank Sir Dan for a very inspiring and informative session this afternoon. Let's all give him another big round of applause virtually. There's so much applause in the comment section, the chat box. Thank you so much, Sir Dan. All
Maybe
right.
just add, it's just that when you become more compassionate, you get more from it. Even if you give something out, what comes back to you is different. The feeling and emotions that you see when you become person of help would also make wonders for you. So do not have that compassionate fatigue. Always still also yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty vessel. So make sure that you also get the enough self care that
Such a wonderful reminder, Sir Dan. Of course, we can't give from an empty cup, so we have to take care of ourselves. I think we need to remember that also. Sometimes we give so much of ourselves, we forget to take care of us as well. I think we can go over two more insights before we finish up. So, Mark Anthony Oliva said, this pandemic has taught us to be more flexible, understanding, and compassionate. We teachers should teach beyond the blackboard and know how to reach students using different modes or platforms. Definitely agree with that. From Melds Divina, they said, we are in a pandemic, an unprecedented time in our history. Thank you for this meaningful seminar. This year, the theme for Mental Health Awareness Week is kindness and compassion. And I think that ties so well to your talk, Sir Dan. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you, Sir Dan, for such a meaningful and wonderful talk this afternoon. I think a lot of our viewers really appreciated it, really appreciated the reminder and the inspiration to be empathetic towards others, to have compassion, and to get to know each other better and understand what others are going through. Thank you, Sir Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All
Thank you,
right,
Tag.
now before yes, go ahead, Sir Dan.
No, thank you, Tag Pros, for having me today.
Okay, thank you so much. We were so glad to have you as our guest speaker for today. It's been such an honor. Okay, now before we finally end our seminar or our webinar for today, let me invite everyone once again, by the way, to be part of our Tag Pros Teacher Partners program. So, our Tag Pros Teacher Partners, like I said, can look forward to the following benefits. They can earn while teaching their expertise at their own pace, place, and time. They have access to teacher CPD accredited training and professional development, have the opportunity to participate in international professional learning opportunities in the United States with our official education partners, your official certified Tag Pros Teacher Partner Badge, and many more other perks as you create and conduct your own online classes. So we have videos telling you more information on our Facebook page. You can definitely check that out there. We also have the steps on how you can apply to be a teacher partner for Tag Pros. So if you want to know more about the program as well, please spend some time and check our education marketplace platform itself, which is at tagpros.us. So that is the main platform for the actual education marketplace. And this is such a great way, by the way, for, like I said earlier, it's such a great way for teachers to show their passions and share that with students from around the world. So actually, the education marketplace is not just for students in the Philippines, but I do believe we have students from the United States as well interested in joining these different classes. So it's a great way for us to get that passion across and to teach students more about these things, and maybe they can pick up their own hobbies or develop a passion for the same thing with your help. And the great thing is that you're also earning while you're actually doing your classes, while you're teaching your passion. So it's a great way. It's having fun but also earning, which is a great thing for teachers like us. Now, tell us your thoughts, of course, about today's webinar workshop in our evaluation form, which is on our website, tagpros.org. We will be posting that link in our comment section and chat box as well as on the screen. So we have it there, right there. Please answer the evaluation form, and remember that you need to submit the evaluation form in order for you to receive the certificate for today's session. If you're not able to answer and submit the evaluation form, unfortunately, we will not be able to provide you with that certificate. For those who are not watching in real time, don't worry, because you have until Friday at 11:59 p.m. to answer the survey or to answer the evaluation form. So that's 1 week to answer so you can get your e-certificate. We will be sending out your e-certificates after 2 weeks. So please do be patient. And thank you for your understanding. All right, so that ends our webinar workshop for today. We really do hope that we see you again next Saturday for our next webinar workshop series. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great afternoon, such an inspiring talk that we had today. As always, please keep updated with Tag Pros Education by following our official social media pages. We have Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And of course, you can check out as well our Education Marketplace website and the Tag Pros website also. Invite your family and friends as well. If you have family and friends who are also educators or who you think might be interested in the topics for our webinar workshops. So once again, I am Celine, and thank you for joining us today. I'll see you on our next webinar. Bye.
Part of the Tag Pros Teacher Partner Program. We want to find the best online educators for the Tag Pros Education Marketplace. We want to enable teachers from the Philippines to teach online classes to students who are eager to learn new skills. Teachers can earn by conducting outstanding online classes at their own pace. Licensed and non-licensed teachers are welcome as long as you meet the following criteria. Licensed teachers are required to submit their PRC ID. You'll also be required to submit your portfolio in the form of a website or a professional blog. If you meet our community standards and have observed our class content policy, we will be happy to have you on board. Want to find out more? Visit our website for more info and check out our Facebook page.
Program. It's easy. Here are the 3 steps you need to follow. Step 1. Apply as teacher partner. Fill up the information being asked on the website. Once done, our team will screen your application, then we will let you know when your application has been accepted. Step 2. Get trained. Join the Tag Pros online teaching CPD training sessions and webinars. Make sure you follow us on social media so you won't miss any of our events. Step 3. Start publishing your classes. If your application has been accepted, you can now start publishing your classes on the Tag Pros Marketplace. Sign up now at the Tag Pros website. We'll be glad to have you on board.